You probably barely notice them. Tiny specks scurrying across the sidewalk, a fleeting shadow in your peripheral vision. Harmless, insignificant. But what if I told you that beneath your very feet, an ancient, relentless war is unfolding? Not a skirmish, but a conflict on a scale that makes our grandest battles look like playground squabbles. We're talking about armies numbering in the millions, locked in a ceaseless, brutal struggle for survival. Forget the quaint, busy little worker. Imagine highly organized legions, deploying chemical weapons with precision, executing complex strategies with chilling efficiency, and engaging in acts of unimaginable sacrifice. This isn't just nature. This is a hidden world of conquest, slavery, and biological warfare. Get ready to have your understanding of the natural world, and perhaps even humanity's place within it, profoundly shaken. Because the truth about ant wars is far more shocking than you could possibly believe. You probably barely notice them. Tiny specks scurrying across the sidewalk, a fleeting shadow in your peripheral vision. Harmless, insignificant. But what if I told you that beneath your very feet, an ancient, relentless war is unfolding? Not a skirmish, but a conflict on a scale that makes our grandest battles look like playground squabbles. We're talking about armies numbering in the millions, locked in a ceaseless, brutal struggle for survival. Forget the quaint, busy little worker. Imagine highly organized legions, deploying chemical weapons with precision, executing complex strategies with chilling efficiency, and engaging in acts of unimaginable sacrifice. This isn't just nature. This is a hidden world of conquest, slavery, and biological warfare. Get ready to have your understanding of the natural world, and perhaps even humanity's place within it, profoundly shaken. Because the truth about ant wars is far more shocking than you could possibly believe. This isn't a story told in grand history books, nor broadcast on the evening news. It's a silent, constant war, unfolding in countless battlefields right under our very noses. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From the pavement cracks in your driveway to the deep roots of ancient forests, empires clash, territories are won and lost, and lives are brutally taken. We're about to pull back the curtain on this microscopic theater of war, to expose the intricate, terrifying strategies and unbelievable facts that define these subterranean struggles. Prepare yourself, because once you know what truly goes on down there, you'll never look at an ant the same way again. You heard me say millions? But how do these countless individuals transform into a unified, deadly fighting machine? It all starts with the scout. Imagine a lone soldier venturing into enemy territory, not with a rifle, but with an internal compass and a chemical arsenal. These pioneering ants are dispatched. Their mission: reconnaissance. They identify rival nests, locate vital resources, and meticulously map the battlefield. But here's the true marvel. When these scouts return, they don't debrief in a war room. They communicate through a complex, invisible language: pheromones. These chemical signals are more than just breadcrumbs. They are encrypted messages, instantly conveying threat levels, enemy locations, and the optimal routes for attack. Enemy sighted. Prepare for assault. Flank left. Reinforcements needed. All communicated without a single sound. In response, the colony mobilizes. It's not chaos, it's an orchestrated marvel. Millions of warriors coalesce into distinct, terrifying formations. Some columns, narrow and swift, are designed for rapid penetration. Others spread wide, forming a living blockade. Each movement, each shift in formation is a direct response to those chemical commands, a chilling display of collective intelligence. This isn't just instinct, it's strategy on a scale we can barely comprehend, establishing their reign as masters of organized, overwhelming force. You might think of a soldier with a rifle, but ants, they have something far more insidious, far more alien. Their arsenals aren't metal and gunpowder, but pure chemistry deployed with chilling biological precision. First, imagine a battlefield where the very air burns. That's the reality for an ant. Facing a blast of formic acid sprayed with pinpoint accuracy, this corrosive chemical melts chitin, searing through exoskeletons, leaving only charred, twitching remains. It's a living napalm, weaponized by creatures barely larger than a grain of sand. Not all attacks are about destruction. Some are about capture, a slow, inevitable demise. Picture a warrior suddenly ensnared by a viscous, inescapable glue. Certain species deploy highly adhesive secretions, binding foes, immobilizing them completely. There is no escape, only paralysis. And then, the unseen weapon, the psychological assault, pheromones. These aren't just for communication. They're instruments of terror, sowing chaos and panic. Imagine a battlefield engulfed in primal fear, a chemical scream telling every enemy to run, or a pheromone designed to disrupt, turning organized legions into a chaotic mob. This isn't just fighting. It's a terrifying masterclass in biological warfare, demonstrating chemical sophistication that rivals humanity's darkest inventions, refined over millions of years of brutal evolution. But what if I told you that the horrors of ant warfare extend far beyond mere conquest and chemical weapons? That there exists an even more insidious practice, a chilling form of exploitation that mirrors humanity's darkest chapters, the systematic enslavement of other ant species. This is called doulosis, and it is a brutal reality. Imagine, if you will, marauding legions of so-called slave-making ants, species like Polyergus or Formica sanguinea, launching coordinated assaults on the unsuspecting nests of their neighbors. Their objective isn't just territory, it's futures. They burst in with overwhelming force, bypassing adult defenders to target the most vulnerable. The nurseries, filled with precious pupae and larvae, these tiny, helpless creatures are snatched away, carried back to the invaders' own colonies, not to be consumed, but to be raised as property. Under the roof of their captors, they hatch, imprinted to believe this new nest is their own, forced into a life of involuntary servitude. They forage for food, clean the chambers, even care for the young of the very ants who enslaved them, completely oblivious to their horrific irony. It's a truly disturbing level of biological manipulation, a form of forced labor, of living tools, that highlights a brutal, complex cruelty we rarely associate with the natural world. Ant slavery, a shocking, undeniable truth unfolding beneath our feet. We've explored the grand strategies, the million-strong armies, the chemical arsenals. But what if the most shocking weapon in an ant war isn't a vast legion, but a single, expendable life? Imagine this. An ant, cornered, outnumbered, facing an insurmountable threat. Does it flee? Does it fight conventionally? No. Some species, like the infamous exploding ants, carry a secret, devastating payload. These aren't just brave soldiers. They are living, breathing biological bombs. When the colony is truly imperiled, When a breach is imminent, these specialized ants engorge themselves, their bodies swelling with a corrosive, sticky toxin stored in vast internal glands. Then, in an act of breathtaking, self-annihilating loyalty, they deliberately contract their muscles with such force that their own bodies rupture. Their exoskeletons tear open, unleashing a deluge of caustic, glue-like fluid that envelops and disables any attacker caught in the blast radius. It's a kamikaze strike, a biological last stand where individual life is utterly secondary to the survival of the collective. This isn't just defense. It's an ultimate, visceral declaration of war, proving that in this hidden world, the line between life and weapon can become horrifyingly blurred. We've delved into the brutal skirmishes, the chemical warfare, the strategic genius of ant armies. But now, prepare yourselves, because we're about to unveil the true apex predator of this hidden world, a phenomenon so colossal it will shatter your perception of insect society. Forget individual colonies. Forget rival factions locked in endless war. Imagine an empire so vast, so interconnected, it defies all previous understanding of biological organization. We're talking about supercolonies. These aren't just large nests. They are sprawling, interwoven networks of countless colonies that have entirely transcended the very notion of neighboring territories. Across entire continents, from the sun-baked plains of Europe to the bustling jungles of Asia, vast stretches of land are not merely inhabited by ants, they are the ants. Billions upon billions of individuals, spanning thousands of miles, operating as a single, terrifyingly efficient entity. Within these colossal nations, the ancient feuds vanish. Their collective, unparalleled might is focused outward, a relentless, conquering force against all other life. This isn't just cooperation. This is global domination on a scale that makes our human empires look like fleeting whispers in the wind. This is the ant world's ultimate, mind-bending truth, a silent, unstoppable conquest unfolding beneath our very feet. We've delved into a world of chemical warfare, slave raids, and strategic sieges on a scale that defies imagination. Million-strong armies, operating with chilling precision, fighting for resources, for territory, for sheer survival. But take a moment now and really listen to those echoes. Doesn't this sound profoundly, disturbingly familiar? The relentless drive to secure land, to feed the collective, to defend against every encroaching threat. Isn't this the primal engine that has fueled human conflicts throughout history? Consider the strategies, the intricate ambushes, the flanking maneuvers, the deployment of specialized units in a complex, deadly dance. Consider the ultimate sacrifices, legions of workers laying down their lives, even exploding their bodies, for the greater good of their colony. A devotion we often lionize in our own soldiers. Every battle, every struggle, whether ant or human, boils down to the same foundational themes: survival, resources, and power. So the next time you glimpse a humble ant, don't just see a tiny speck. See a miniature reflection of our own brutal, magnificent, relentless struggle. See the raw, undeniable essence of life on Earth, intricate, savage, and profoundly resonant with our own nature. The truth about ant wars isn't just about them, it's about us, laid bare.